Hello everyone, Ash here. It's time for another Ash Talks, this time on the hatred for The Amazing Spider-Man and The Amazing Spider-Man 2. There's quite a lot of it for no reason whatsoever. The only reason people hate it is because they still want to kiss Sam Raimi's goddamn dick. Now, as you all know, I like Sam Raimi as a director. I think he's a good director when he's directing his own stuff. When he's directing something like the Spider-Man films, he has no clue what the fuck he's doing, and the films are a complete total disaster. I consider the Sam Raimi Spider-Man films to be one of the worst films and movie franchise. And superhero franchise, they're easily the worst, in my opinion. And I think Spider-Man 2 is the worst superhero movie of all time. I'm going to go into why I hate Spider-Man 2 later, but right now I'm going to talk about why people hate The Amazing Spider-Man 2, because some of it makes no damn sense, and I want to talk about Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield. People always love to say how that Tobey Maguire is such a great Spider-Man, that, oh, he's such a nerd, he's such a great nerd, that's how a nerd acts. No, people, that's a stereotype of a nerd. Andrew Garfield's actually intelligent. He actually has a fucking brain. He uses it. He thinks. Tobey Maguire Spider-Man cries and bitches. In fact, that's all he does in these films. Does he what knows? Then Sam Raimi Spider-Man, all Tobey Maguire does is kind of throw a little bitch fit. 90% of the time, he starts crying and throwing bitch fits. Hell, look at Spider-Man 2. Look at that film. What was he doing in most of that movie? Bitching and moaning about how he didn't want to be Spider-Man. How I hate this. This is stupid. It sucks. I hate being Spider-Man. I'll cry now. I'm going to cry because it's not fair. I don't want to be Spider-Man anymore. Wah, let someone else be Spider-Man. Or when he's not crying, he's getting bitched at. Yeah, that was all Spider-Man 2 was. I'll get more into that later, but, you know, all you people who claim that Tobey Maguire is such a great Peter Parker, let's see what he does in one particular scene in Spider-Man that people don't seem to usually bring up or forget that he did. Let's play it, shall we? Here it is, the scene right here. Oh, let's watch this.
See ya.
Yes, that's right, folks. He let a man die. A man he could have saved and given to the police. And the police could have shown, and then he could have been brought to a trial for justice. But no. Spider-Man decided to do his own justice right there. Tobey Maguire decided to kill him. Yeah, he decided he was going to be judge, jury, and executioner and murder the man. Just amazing. How people completely forget about that he murdered a man. Well, he didn't murder him, but he let him die. Could have saved him, but he didn't. But he chose to let him die. We don't see that with Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man. He doesn't just let people die. He tries to save. He tries to help people. Hell, he tried, instead of trying to fight Electro in the beginning, he actually tried to help him. He tried to calm him down and said, come on, let's go. Let's go to a quiet place. And actually tried to help him, genuinely help him. In fact, there's a particular scene in The Amazing Spider-Man 2 where he helps a kid. And he goes, and what I like about that scene is he goes, oh my god, you built this? And was actually treating him like a normal fucking person. Yeah, treating him like a normal kid. Not making after school, not PSA messages like Sam Raimi's films. But the thing I always found so funny is people keep saying that how Tobey Maguire's a geek and he's more of a nerd than Andrew Garfield's emo Spider-Man. Emo Spider-Man. Well, actually, no. Andrew Garfield's an actual nerd. He actually acts like a geek in the Amazing Spider-Man films. Tobey Maguire's just a stereotype of a geek. That's all he is. That's all he's ever been, is a stereotype. Andrew Garfield acts like a nerd. He's intelligent. And in fact, I've even heard one person actually say this. That it doesn't make sense how Andrew Garfield made the web slingers. He doesn't show any signs that he's intelligent. Why? Because he doesn't stereotype intelligence? He doesn't try to be a little stereotype like Tobey Maguire? No, he acts like a nerd. And you want proof he's a freaking nerd in those films? He helped make the formula that made the lizard. And then he tried to correct his mistake. My God, how many times has he shown that he is a nerd, that he is very intelligent, that he has a brain, that he thinks? Oh, but no, he doesn't think. No, no, no. That's not what we want. We want a stereotype. That's all we want. We want just a fucking stereotype of a nerd. But then, then I swear to God, people have actually said Uncle Ben's death. How in the Amazing Spider-Man, they tried to make it as Uncle Ben's fault that he died. How was it his fault? He was trying to stop a mugger. He was trying to stop someone who robbed a store. He was trying to stop him. He got shot. Stuff like that happens. It's not Uncle Ben's fault. They're making it up. I mean, people are just now making up shit to hate on the Amazing Spider-Man 2. They're literally making it up. I mean, my God. Could you make up any more crap? Then we get to the death of Gwen Stacy, which in my opinion was the best character death I've ever seen in a film. I'm not kidding. That was one of the best deaths because one of the reasons it works so effectively is she can't say anything. She can't even say goodbye to him. She just dies. And that is very tragic and very sad. That's far worse than any other death I've seen in film. For a superhero movie, anyways, that's one of the best I've ever seen because that's so sad that she can't even say goodbye to him. She just dies, and that's horrible. And that works so much more effectively because we get to swallow those emotions. We feel what he's feeling. The feeling of failure that he failed. It's so effective. It works so perfectly. And then I hear the whole horse crap though. Oh, well, Tobey Maguire had to keep a promise, and he kept that promise to Harry that about Green Goblin, about his dad being the Green Goblin. This kid couldn't keep that promise. That Andrew Garfield couldn't keep the promise, and that was horrible. And look what happened. It was driving him nuts in Spider-Man 2. He was literally had Gwen Stacy's father looking at him every time. It was guilt-tripping him. It was just a mass guilt trip, and it was tearing him up. And not to mention, he is a teenager still. Again, that's not an easy decision to make. But again, back to Gwen Stacy's death, and then people say, "Oh, he started cracking jokes too early." It was 6 months after she died, and that was one of the things. Was sometimes you have to move on, even though you've lost someone you love. You have to move on. That's one of the other things they're trying to get across is you have to move on. And it was understandable why Andrew Garfield quit being Spider-Man for so long. His reasoning was justified. Tobey Maguire's reason? There's no justification for that shit. He just quit because it was too hard. Oh, it's too hard now. I can't be Spider-Man. It's just too hard. When Andrew Garfield's justification for quitting was, he was actually justifying quitting. He failed to save Gwen Stacy. And that was understandable. And that's why he stopped being Spider-Man. But then after hearing her graduation speech, he realized he had to move on with his life. He couldn't just he couldn't just hate himself for the rest of life. He had to move on. That was one of the themes. And it works effectively. That's why I love the ending, because it works perfectly. But oh, another thing. The relationship between Harry Osborn and Peter is forced. No, it's not. That's how any people who haven't seen each other for years, that's pretty much what they would do. They get to know what's been going on with the other one. They'd wonder, what's been going on, what you've been up to. It makes sense. Again, I just don't... The hate for this film... The only reason people hate this movie is because of the Raimi films. That's it. That's the reason why people like Movie Bob hate this film. And the irony, I like Movie Bob, a lot of his reviews. I think he does some good reviews, but when it comes to Amazing Spider-Man films, there's no justification for him hating those movies. And fun fact about Movie Bob is he likes that crappy dance in Spider-Man 3. So yeah, that's Movie Bob for you right there. But, I mean, I loved The Amazing Spider-Man 2. It's one of my favorite superhero movies of all time. It was a great film. And yet, it gets hate just because because honestly, everyone wants to compare it to the Sam Raimi films, and because they want to think those are great films when the Sam Raimi films. I'm going to get into why those movies have so many problems later, but I love The Amazing Spider-Man 2. It doesn't deserve any of the hate it gets. It's bullshit it gets this hate. And anyways, this is Ash saying so long. I am out. Good night.